This is Samuel Academy channel. In this video, I will identify senior schools, alright, in Likuyani Constituency in Kakamega County and show where the schools are found. I will do that by zooming in, zooming out, and using the pan tool in the map of the constituency. This exercise will help students, parents, and teachers who may be looking for a school for enrollment or for some other reason, such as teaching practice, to be able to find the school with ease. At the end of the video, I will explain how a weather instrument called a wet bulb hygrometer works. So let me begin by zooming in at some point in that map. If I zoom in around this area, I'm able to see the following schools, right? Because when I zoom in, I am increasing the scale of the map. Therefore, I am able to view a smaller area, but with more detail. If I zoom out, I'll be able to view a larger area, but with very little detail. So for me to be able to see the schools clearly and where they are located, I will zoom in that map of the constituency of Likuyani. So around this area, we have the following schools. Okay, this is Moi Nangili Girls High School. Then we have Satellite Secondary School. As we move towards the north, using the pan icon, the pan tool, I can see St. Augustine, so Isambo Secondary School, Friends School Kongoni, and so on and so on. This is Matunda Secondary School, Matunda Highway Secondary School, St. Peter's Moy's Bridge Secondary School, St. Anne Zoya Girls Secondary School. If I go to the west in this area, I'm able to see Bururu Secondary School, St. Henry Saisi Wabuge Memorial Secondary School. Alright? Now, let me go to the south to see if I can get some schools that I have not looked at. We have Friends School Vinyanya, we have Harvest Secondary School, St. Benedict Lugulu Day. This is, we have looked at these ones and so on. So we have exhausted all the schools that you are to look at, all right? But to the south, around this point, we have Forestal Salvation Army Secondary School and St. Jude's Seregea Secondary School. This is Ivugui Secondary School, St. Johnston Baptist Likuyani Secondary School, and so on and so forth. So dear viewer, this is how the schools are distributed in that constituency of Likuyani. Now, before I show you how a wet bulb hygrometer works, I want to request you to like the video, to share widely, and to subscribe to Samuel Academy to be able to view more videos. Alright, this is what we call the wet bulb hygrometer, right? This is the wet bulb hygrometer, which is used to measure relative humidity. Okay, it has two thermometers, which are called the dry bulb thermometer and wet bulb thermometer. The two thermometers are mercury in glass thermometers. All right, the difference between the two is that at the wet bulb, we tie a masking cloth. You see this cloth here is tied around the wet bulb, but the dry bulb, there's nothing there. So we tie a muslin cloth around the wet bulb, and we have strands of cotton thread. We have a wick which is immersed in distilled water, and it is attached to that muslin cloth. So the water in this container rises by capillarity along that wick and evaporates. The evaporation around the wet bulb causes cooling, so that when we observe these thermometers, we find that the temperature that is read at the wet bulb is usually lower than what we read at the dry bulb. Like this, you can see it's around 19 point something, and this is 29 point something. There's a difference. That difference, we call it the wet bulb depression. It is what we use to calculate humidity, all right? So we rate the two thermometers at the same time, find the difference, and then use what we call a slide rule to calculate humidity. Or instead of a slide rule, we use what we call psychrometric tables. We just check in the tables, and then we can read the humidity value, all right? So that is how a wet bulb hygrometer looks like, and that's how it works, all right? Thank you so much, dear viewer, for visiting my channel and taking your time to view that video. So I want to remind you, like the video, share widely, and subscribe to Samuel Academy to be able to see more videos.